Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pixelship podcast. I am Neil Lebo, joined with Ryan Blandy
I wish I could be an amiibo.
and Ryan Hayes.
Ahoy, ahoy.
We've got a special edition of the Pixelship podcast for you because, as most of you are probably aware, it's E3,
Boo, 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 boo,
E3
boo, boo, boo,
and you
boo.
get an
Electron.
E3, and you get an
Boo,
E3.
boo, boo.
So,
Actually, none of us get E3s
no,
because it's only for people in the industry.
I mean, we're in the industry, man. We are.
Well, no one. And where the fuck is my ticket to E3?
You could have bought one.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just practice my fellatio skills outside.
That's a good
until I try
point.
to
There
get
is
one.
always the BJ train.
So we are now in day 2 of E3, wrapping up day 2, correct?
No, wrapping up
No,
day three.
day one of the floor, right? The first day is just press conferences, I believe.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so day 1 of the floor. So we've seen a
Day
lot.
2 on the floor.
Whatever. We're in E3. So we've seen a lot of press conferences, a lot of stuff from Sony and Xbox, and a small amount from PC. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about what we've played this week, and we're going to keep it a little brief. So let's start with you, Ryan Hayes. What have you played this week?
Yeah, like I said, keep it brief. I haven't been playing a whole lot, but I was up at my parents', killing some time on my tablet, and found that Hitman Go was released for Android recently. It's about $5, and I snapped it up. I saw a little bit about the game, and it just looked super interesting. So it is basically Hitman chess. It's these weird little board games where you are given paths, and for every move you make, another character on the board, bad guys, also move. And different guys kind of have different abilities. Some kind of move back and forth, some move randomly, and the whole point is to navigate these areas, not unsimilarly to how you would in an actual Hitman game, just very, very simplified, and it is fucking awesome. It is a Hitman puzzle game in a way that just feels right. It feels like a Hitman game. It feels like you're planning every move. It is kind of stripped down to literal bare bones. But you can pick up rocks for distractions. You can hide in various things. They're all kind of very deliberately placed, but not in a way that it's like, oh, here's the obvious solution. Uh, you know,
It's
everything
grid
ramps up.
based.
What?
It's grid based.
It's grid based in as much as you move, the cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west, but you can't move infinitely in any direction. So they kind of look like elaborate pipe works as, here's maybe 15 to 20 possible routes.
Is it top down?
It is, they are little boxes. They look like old, intricate dioramas, almost like train models. And it just has like a really cool, almost like super expensive coffee table board game feel. Everything about that is fantastic. It's been out on iPad, iOS devices for a little while. But Neil, I know you're kind of a fan of the Hitman games and recently got a decent phone, to play some games on. It might be something worth looking up. Maybe not spending $5 on the phone just because it's really small. But if that game is ever on sale, I encourage everyone to pick it up because it is really, really good.
Yeah, it did make a splash in the that studio. Apparently, is coming out with another game too, and that's the only reason that I heard of this Hitman Go. And they were heralded as one of the better mobile games for the past couple of years. So I am interested in it. Strategy games have always been something that I've been interested in. So
Yeah, it's kind of strategy. I would say it's more of a puzzle game. It's very almost like the number sliders, where you have a grid of numbers. It's
Right.
almost like that because you move and everything else moves. It's very interesting. It's really hard to compare it to anything. The closest thing I can compare it to is almost like chess. Just the way that you kind of are planning moves ahead, and you literally, when you move onto a piece with a bad guy, you literally take his piece and he appears kind of like on the side of the board, like you would put chess pieces. So it's a great game.
All right. It sounds pretty cool. And for $5, I mean, you really can't go wrong.
It's a little pricey for a mobile game, but I think it is 1,000 times better than most things you're paying $2 or $3 for on a phone. So
Right. I think we've gotten to this point with mobile games where if it's not free, you don't look at it a second time, and I think that you miss out on good games when you do that. You miss out
this
on
is a good
actual decent-
example of paying for quality. They clearly put a lot of time, a lot of art, and a lot of effort, and there's tons of levels too. I think there's 15 or so levels, and then there's like 3 or 4 sets of levels. I think there's going to be like paid DLC too, but whatever. I might pick those up if they're pretty cheap.
All right. All right, Blandy, what have you been up to, buddy?
Well, I've played all the things. There's Tomodachi Life. It's great.
Tomodachi Life looked interesting.
It's
I think
so
we talked
much
about
fun.
it a
I
little
get to
bit.
dress people up.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Is it any more like Animal Crossing, or is it kind of still its own thing?
It is actually nothing like Animal Crossing.
All right. Maybe
Uh,
that's a good thing.
there's like
So did you get the full
def-
game, or is this just the beta still?
No. This is it came out. I have it.
All right. Okay.
You have relationships, and you put everybody that you know in there, or Zoidberg,
Or Shaquille
and-
O'Neal.
and then it's a lot of fun. Our pal Fister keeps trying to get up on Neil's girlfriend Erin, and I'm like, stop that. And then
So do you just put all your friends in it, or is
Yep.
it just like one of those things like you have to street pass people?
no. If you street pass people, that's great. But you still have to manually put their me in from the me maker.
Oh, okay.
But if you street pass, you get certain items. They can visit and sell things. Like the land is a top-down overview where you press on like apartments or the store or
Okay.
this or that.
Yeah, it's like
So it's not as walk around and have fun. But it's a good time. It's still one of those games that, you take a few minutes out of your day to check in on the hilarity, and then, it's not a game that you play for hours on end.
it's a good bathroom game.
It's a very good bathroom game. Yes, that's the perfect way to put it. It's a lot of fun. It's very funny and very Japanesey and very weird.
It
I
was
love it.
always a surprise that it came to the U.S. I think when they first announced it, they're like, really? That's generally something you kind of keep over in Japan and don't bother translating to English.
Agree. But yeah, they did it, and it's a fun time.
Maybe we'll get more games like that, because I like weird little Japanese games. So
I agree.
Here's hoping.
It's definitely something that you should try, and if you like weird Japanesey games, yeah, check it out. And then I also tried the Battlefield beta. I got in. I got it.
The Cops and Robbers Battlefield game.
Cops and robbers, and it's just Battlefield. I mean, there are some modes where you have to like, oh no, they stole the money, go get them.
Yeah, I heard it's like a kind of a
I'm just
shitty
wondering-
ripoff of Payday in a Battlefield universe. kind of thing.
I think Payday does it better.
Payday is a little bit more deliberate.
Yeah, and not to mention with Payday, you have a little more skill. With these maps, of course, they are huge. You have choppers and motorcycles and cop cars and sedans and just shit going over, and it pretty much turns into everybody's just running people over.
Do you get tanks?
Not in the map I saw. They only had 2 maps available.
I just think it would be weird if they started rolling out like actual military equipment for fucking
I
cops
don't
and
think.
robbers.
Uh,
I mean, it happens in GTA.
Yeah, but GTA. Well, all right, that's fair.
there's no 4 stars here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always feel like GTA is just kind of this weird, balancing on surreal world.
I guess that is very true.
But yeah, if you get in for PS4, it's going on right now. It is a great deal of fun. But would I buy it? I'm not partial to military shooters, and that's what it is. It just has a coat of red and blue lights on it.
It's a Battlefield game. It'll be $10 when they announce the new one. So
Yep.
True story.
play it then.
Have you
when
played
one
anything
is
else,
playing.
brother?
Aside from Team Fortress.
All right.
We've talked enough about Team Fortress for the entirety of the podcast.
Team Fortress and WildStar.
All right, that brings us to
Time.
E3.
All right. So with E3, Ryan, since you have a list, why don't you take us through the games? There are
All right.
definitely things that I think we all have to say about most of them, but
I don't have a complete list for Xbox because I didn't really get through all of it. I also don't really care about Xbox, so Ryan might be better to speak on that. What I did see the Xbox that kind of piqued my interest was Sunset Overdrive.
hell
It's
yeah.
awesome.
It's
It looks-
kind of Jet Grind Radio meets Dead Rising was kind of
Yeah.
the best way I could describe that, and
Yeah,
I don't mean that
already
in a bad
pre-ordered
way.
it. It looks fantastic.
It's gonna sell the system for me. Like
It's
honestly,
got a really
yeah.
cool style. Is it an Xbox only though? I don't.
It's Xbox One only.
First. Oh,
Microsoft Studios freaking owns it.
Okay.
Insomniac made it. Insomniac made the Ratchet and Clank games.
yeah.
Right.
It is. It looks like just fun.
What was that?
Just a lot of
What was
fun.
that game you used to play on the Wii, Ryan? Where you had like a lightsaber, but they couldn't call it a lightsaber.
Oh, no.
No More Heroes.
No More Heroes. Yeah, it gives me like a cheeky aspect of kind of like that game.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
with like a great visual styling, much like that game had. So
I'm kind of not super thrilled that it's essentially a zombie game, but it looks cartoony and wacky enough, and I feel like you have a lot better movement than you do in any other zombie game. So
Well, they're not zombies. They're mutants.
yes, true. They're like soda obsessed mutants or something weird.
Yeah, the soda transformed them.
Yeah, it's a cautionary tale against corn syrup. So
looks amazingly gorgeous though. So
It does.
weird, so wacky, so just free movement of the character seems insane.
I'm super bummed out now that you're saying that it's Xbox only. So hopefully it's coming to the PC too, and maybe I'll play it on there. 'Cause
No,
I'll
they
get an
did
Xbox One.
say that unlike Dead Rising 3, this would be just an exclusive, and that's it.
Yeah, they said that about Halo 2, but we'll get to that. Project Spark. Apparently it's been out for a little while. It's just kind of I guess, make your own level kind of game creator kind of thing. It's like this world. It was just weird because Conker popped up in the little trailer, and I didn't really understand what that shit was about.
Well, basically, Project Spark is not out.
I thought like the alpha was out or something like that. Like people have been playing it.
Alpha is not game.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Right.
But
you
yeah,
can get a taste.
they're putting Conker in it. Some have speculated perhaps that's a telltale of Rare actually working on a Conker game. Others just go like, yeah, this is a cheap buy-in where they're just putting it in there so that you'll buy this game.
I don't know. The whole like we want another Conker, we want another Banjo-Kazooie. Rare doesn't exist anymore. Like Grant
The Rare that
Kirkhope
we
and the
knew
gang
was.
does not exist. So you're never getting those games. I almost rather see the property go to another studio and just be like, hey.
I
have
agree.
Property.
I totally agree.
And then the only other thing that kind of surprised me in the Xbox as much as I saw was the new Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Looked surprisingly better than I thought it would. It
Yeah,
it
the
you have a
bros are pissed.
you have a
Yeah.
lot more movement. The combat seems more interesting. It looks gorgeous, but that is to be expected. And the grenades have fucking rocket packs,
Yeah,
so that's pretty awesome.
I didn't understand what that was all about.
I don't really know either, but I saw a grenade, and then the grenade kind of
Hovered. Yeah,
hovered and like aligned itself, and then went after someone. I'm like, that's kind of the coolest fucking thing I've seen in a video game in a long time. So that alone made me kind of pay attention to a Call of Duty, which is something I have not done since Call
Ever.
of Duty 2, the first fucking Advanced Warfare or whatever it was. But anyway, that looks surprisingly
Call of
good.
Duty
And
2 was not. Anyways,
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
Yeah. It's more interesting than I want it to be, but
Yeah,
not
because
interesting
now I'm
enough
like,
to
I
get me
might
there.
have to buy a Call of Duty game, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Right.
you should feel bad about yourself. Always.
Man, fucking rocket pack grenades. Apparently that's all you need to do to sell me a fucking $60 video game now.
Pretty much.
I don't know if there was anything else in Xbox that came up toward the end. They were talking about the Halo pack, the all 4 games, which I think is kind of cool.
Dead Rising Super Ultra Mega Alpha. I love it.
It interests me a little bit. I mean, you can play as like Ryu and people like that.
Well, it's your favorite characters cosplay. All they had to say was Frank West, and I was there.
is this a DL? This is a DLC though, right?
It's a DLC. It's out now.
Yeah. Did you already get it? Have you tried this?
Buy it.
Have you bought this and played this?
No, I haven't.
Oh. Okay.
But only because I forgot to get a card today.
Oh, right on.
I would have played it. I'll
sure you
probably play it tomorrow.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's.
I think there was a couple. Oh, there was that.
Fable.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Watch your tongue. I actually didn't even talk about what I played this week, but it doesn't matter because I just played Fable 2 because I watched this friggin' release on Fable and I was like, I need some more Fable in my life. Yeah,
Love Fable.
It does everything that it could possibly do to take my money. Like it couldn't have showed me any more or less. No, it could have showed me. It could have showed me more, but what I'm getting at is this game looks freaking awesome.
The question I have for that game is it fun by yourself?
Shit, yeah. Fable? For Fable in general, or for this Fable?
But for the new Fable, because it's so
the new
heavily dependent on the co-op element,
Mm-hmm.
that's the only thing I'm afraid of is either they're
Can
going to be
you
like,
play
well,
it
you
all?
have to play with these 3 shitty AI characters, or,
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you would have to have dedicated AI companions, that would get annoying. That does get very annoying. It does seem like a common theme in new games to have just
online co-op is mandatory at this point.
online co-op. Yeah.
You have to.
You
It-
just
it-
need to do it, right?
Which I'm fine with as long as it doesn't hurt. Like, it's not Resident Evil 5 where you're like, okay, if it's not a human being, I might as well just be dragging a potato behind me for this entire fucking game. Like,
Right.
as long as they figure out ways to make it fun, because I often play games by myself. Like,
Right.
other than once a week we hop on and play games together, we don't all have the same consoles, this, that, the other thing. Those games are never going to get played co-op the way they're supposed to be played. So,
Well,
I don't know.
Fable
It
will be a
looks great,
game
though.
that for one, I'm buying the system because
Yeah?
there's a new friggin' Fable game and I have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
Then I'll come over and play Sunset Overdrive on your...
And yeah, I definitely Sunset Overdrive is another seller for me. So E3 has accomplished. Well, I don't know if I'm going to buy it right away. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't. I'm getting away.
Just
from
wait,
the
they're
point.
going to keep lowering the price. They're going to keep pulling features and lowering the price of the
They-
Xbox.
Yeah, that is probably true. But yeah, this new Fable game has got me really pumped. I really do have faith in Lion's Head Studios. They do great work. I've never.
Is it still Lion's Head? I thought
Yeah.
Peter Molyneux
Yeah.
wasn't attached to this one.
Yeah, it's well, Lion's Head still their name's still attached.
Oh, maybe just Molyneux is no longer with it.
Hmm.
Okay.
But yeah, they have. I mean, people bitched about Fable 3, but I thought it was amazing. I love 2, and 1 is a masterpiece. So I really,
Yeah,
I mean, there was that motion Fable, right? The Connect
oh,
Fable.
the Fable the
Yeah.
Ride.
Uh,
Yeah,
don't you play this?
Yeah, I still have yet to play it. It doesn't interest
it
me.
That's
looked
because
cool,
it doesn't
but
work.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Well,
work.
anyway,
Connect doesn't work.
it looks like an interactive Disney ride. It looked all right, but I'll never play it.
so is that the end of Xbox? I guess.
No, there was the Limbo team is making another game that
Oh, that looks incredible.
called Inside, I think.
Yeah.
It,
It
it
looks
it looks like
awesome.
Limbo, but on next gen consoles. But it it looks great. You know, if you've played Limbo, you kind of know what you're getting into, and that is not a bad thing. Like I'm perfectly okay with playing
Like
another
just
game like that.
dystopian freaking just when you start watching that trailer and just see people just lining up all wearing the same and just
Yeah,
this one little kid's in a red shirt
there's not a lot to say about it other
but
than go and look for the trailer online,
fall in
because
love.
it's just really charming. And then the only other thing, which I only saw a glimpse of, and then I hunted down the trailer as soon as I heard what it was called, and there was maybe another 20 seconds of, but in my opinion, is probably the second most exciting game I have seen announced at E3 so far is Cuphead. Did you guys catch any of
Oh, the
this?
1930s
It looks like an old
cartoon.
school fucking Disney cartoon, and
Yeah.
it is amazing. Like the background pulses to the music, and it looks so fucking cool. Like,
Is
Yeah.
this an indie game or?
Yeah,
yeah, it's a little indie game. It was like 3 seconds on, oh, these are all the indie games that are coming out, and it came on the screen. I'm like, what the fuck
what
is
the
that
fuck is
game?
that? Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
So that's another thing
Everybody
where
wants
it's
that.
kind of hard to explain. Go on, look up the Cuphead trailer, and god damn it, that better come out for the PS4 because that might be a day one purchase because that game just looks amazing.
Oh yeah.
Just something unique that you haven't seen, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something where we really didn't have the fidelity and the high resolution to get a proper hand drawn kind of side scroller.
Right.
This looks uncannily like, if that's even a
Yeah.
word, old Disney cartoons. And like I said, like the pulsing background to the music is what sold me. Like the flames were coming up from the ground to like the do 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 kind of music, and it was amazing.
All right.
So very excited for that. And that's all I have for Xbox. We can
Let's move
move
on
on
to
to Sony.
Sony, baby.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, so
All right. So the first one is The Order. The Order is kind of a steampunkish future past kind of game. It
that looks.
looks.
It's just
Oh,
based.
it look, what?
It's just a cover-based shooter, basically.
It's a cover-based shooter, and that's a game we won't know anything about till it's out and people start playing it. How
Yeah.
substantial the story is or anything like that. But wow, that game looks really good, and I think its strongest thing that we're seeing more and more with this generation, but how it goes from cutscenes to dropping you right into the action.
Yeah.
I think it does really, really well. Where you're like being thrown around by this monster and kind of being chased, and then the camera swings around and you're right in it, and there's no stutter. You don't see the polygons shrink in number or whatever it is. It just looks like a very cohesive experience. So while it kind of just looks like a generic shooter, it could be neat. It's probably not something I'm going to jump at as soon as it comes out, but it's something I'm going to pay attention to if it gets decent reviews.
Right on.
And then a lot of stuff on Destiny. That's something that's I think a lot of people have seen a lot of stuff on it
Yeah,
so
like
far.
if you haven't heard of Destiny yet, You are in the minority
Well,
because
It looks
we
interesting.
talked about
there's
it. We
been
talked about it
enough.
at length last week
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But they're showing more and more of it. The more I see of it, I think the more I might be interested in it. But again, not super sold. And then Batman, kind of the big thing was they were kind of showing the Batmobile and kind of how moving around the world works a little bit more. The game itself looks really fucking good. While I think, there was a scene where you kind of hit this mode and the Batmobile turned into a tank and you're kind of shooting bad guys with the tank and shit like that. Doesn't even look mildly appealing to me. The fact that when you're driving around that city and you're kind of going upstairs and taking out medians and how the world gives very little resistance in the way it should when you're driving through it in the Batmobile, because, it's narrow alleys and stuff like that. I think just driving the car looks really good, and then that you can basically use it as a launcher to fly around the world, I think is just going to make navigation a lot better. And then you can call it and it'll come and meet you, wherever you are. So it looks like it's just going to make movement a lot faster in that game, which I don't think would be a bad thing if the world is significantly larger. But it looks fantastic.
Right. This game looks like it's accomplishing being Batman better than other games are. And
Well,
I don't know, we haven't played it, but
the first two were one studio, and then the third one was kind of handed off to another team. So this is the original team coming back to it, and
Yeah.
it seems
Well, they
like
never left it. Just they went like, this is going to take some time. And
yes.
then Warner Brothers went like, well,
We want
need
more
another
money.
Batman. Let's get another team on another Batman's.
So, and again, this is a game that I'm probably not going to buy day one, but as long as it is well received, it's almost definitely something I'll pick up, maybe when it gets, $40, $50.
Sure.
GTA 5 was announced for PlayStation
For everything.
4, but who the fuck cares?
And PC.
PC,
I think it's already out on Steam, isn't it?
I think
didn't
so.
it just
No,
pop
it
up
is
on
not.
Steam?
no, they have $6 for GTA 4.
Oh, it's a promo. Okay.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm gonna buy it. There's nothing really to say.
Yeah, everybody's
If you care
Hi.
about Metal Gear Solid 5, you've watched everything about it. So
You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I don't care. And to the point of
that is perfectly acceptable.
not that I don't care, but I don't know. There's a big chunk of Metal Gear Solid games that I did not play, and apparently the ones that I didn't play turned Metal Snake into
Solid Snake.
or Solid Snake into like a World War or like a Vietnam vet. I don't know.
They're different timelines. What it comes down to, it's the cult of Kojima. Kojima makes the most batshit insane, campy action movies from the 80s and mixes sci-fi and melodrama, and they're just fucking insane games. So if you're not drinking the Kool-Aid, we all look like crazy people. And I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, if you've played all of them and you're kind of sucked into this weird, bizarre lore where the Patriots are an artificial intelligence that has ruled the world and, guns are tied to IDs, and then when that broke down, like, there's this...
The la-la-lu-le-lo.
The la-la-lu-le-lo. If you're at all interested in Metal Gear Solid 5 and you kind of missed a couple, there are tons of attempts to explain the cult of Kojima and the story he has woven for his minions, I guess.
Well, I really liked 1 and 2, and it doesn't look like these games look anything like that.
I think this kind of has the appeal of being more open world. It's a little bit more of a choose your own adventure than the other games traditionally have been, very narrative driven, get to point A to point B kind of thing. But yeah, if you're not into Metal Gear Solid games, you have no reason to be excited for this. It's just gotten crazier and crazier and crazier.
And extraordinarily gory. Jeez.
Yeah, there was a lot of stabbing in the trailer. A lot of people got stabbed in that
A lot of stabbing.
But like the villain's name is Skullface. Like that's fucking that's the kind of game it is, where the main villain in a game's name is Skullface. Like it's just craziness.
Yeah.
In Metal Gear Solid 3, one of the enemies shot bees at you. Like those are the kind of games they are. Like they're fucking weird.
Jeez.
So, Uncharted 4, I don't even want to talk about this because we all know that Uncharted is out. There was a teaser, didn't show anything. Whatever.
What? It showed that it was going to be the last one.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
but
well, the head writer of
everyone
Uncharted
left.
left. So
A bunch of people left. Naughty
yeah,
Dog.
so I think yeah, don't let it get stale. Just go like, this is it.
I hope it's great. I'm probably gonna get it. So,
Yep.
that is that. This one I was thinking about, Neil, the new Mortal Kombat X.
Yeah.
Looks pretty fucking great.
Looks amazing.
I like the new characters.
The new
Yeah.
characters are weird. Like the guy
It's like
with like a
fucking
little guy.
Tiny
in his back.
Tina
Right.
with a big guy, and then this wasp.
It's
broad.
like it's Master Blaster from Thunderdome.
Okay.
Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
But it looks awesome. It looks
Those
innovative.
games just keep getting better too. Like they know exactly what they're doing, and isn't it like 2 or 3 of the original guys are still making those fucking games?
Yeah,
Like,
and they keep getting better and better. Like what they did with
bring the
Infamous,
hits.
they're just like implementing all of their wins there into this
Yeah.
new Mortal Kombat, and I swear to God, I'm gonna jack off in it. That game is I haven't been as excited by an E3 in a while, and it's it's next gen consoles. I can understand like why that would be, but they are trying to sell these freaking consoles if it kills them, and
yeah. Well,
and
there's
that's
not a ton of content out for you. There's they're announcing all these games, but there's not a lot out there.
right. So this is definitely one that once again, I mean this will be a system seller for some people.
Yeah, and it's the nice part about the new Mortal Kombat 2, and maybe I'm talking out of my ass, but it's almost guaranteed to be a great game. Like, there's no reason for this to be a bad game. They've released so many quality products recently that I can't imagine what they could do to ruin this thing.
They would never put their name on it.
Yeah, and
Like
it's
other than Mortal Kombat 4, there has not been a bad Mortal Kombat game.
and that's very rare for a game to just be announced and everyone just kind of go, yeah, that's going to be great. I'm going to buy it. I know exactly what I'm getting into, and if I'm lucky, I'm going to get some extra cool stuff.
Right.
So I think that's really neat.
How amazing is it too that they revolutionized fighting games, what, 3 decades ago?
Yeah.
And they're still coming out with just quality game after quality game. I gotta hand it to them.
Good at what they do, man. They're really good at what they do, and they keep doing it because people keep paying them a fuck ton of money to do it.
Yeah.
Abzu.
I think that you are interested in this game.
I am super interested in this game. It's the Journey team, and it's Journey meets The Little Mermaid. It's underwater Journey, and it just looks gorgeous, and it makes me want to cry because
the graphics weren't impressive to me.
Sure.
I know that
Not
half
about
of
the
it.
graphics.
Yeah, but
it's about the environment and it's about the experience. And if they deliver half the experience that Journey was, I'll be perfectly happy.
right. But Journey did have a great art style to it. I just didn't see that awesome art direction that I saw with Journey.
I mean, the game's not done. They might still have some lighting engines. They might be polishing up some textures and finalizing the art style. We don't know, but I'm going to get it anyway. Doesn't
Yeah, I
matter.
know, yeah.
Magica 2 is coming out, which, if you played the first Magica, it looks like more
Magic.
of that. But the little trailer...
Is that going on a system? Is that going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be on consoles, which is going to be interesting. It was difficult with the keyboard, so I'll see how that works with a pared-down controller.
Right.
But the reason I'm bringing it up is just go online and watch the little live-action skit they made for that. It was about the Magica guy, what he was doing after Magica, and it's adorable, and it's Magica guy, but sad, and it's really cute. So watch that. Grim Fandango.
Oh
is
my
getting
God.
remastered, which I am
It's
super
amazing.
fucking excited for.
It's the internet got a boner.
Yeah, it definitely caused the internet to have a little fucking schoolgirl moment
I
of.
can't believe he got the rights back. Like,
Well, it's not.
that
It's Disney.
made-
Disney owns the rights.
yeah, Disney owns the rights, and I was fucking surprised. I couldn't
Um,
believe it.
So I hope they kind of fix the controls and stuff like that. Apparently, they were working on one for the Xbox for a while, like the original Xbox. Um, and so they already kind of have hooks for controllers. So it shouldn't be too bad. I'm just kind of interested to see. And I know Tim Schafer wouldn't let that thing be shit because that's one of his, games he holds
Dear to
kind
his
of near
heart.
and dear. So, I'm that's a must own to me, and probably
I can't
most
wait. I will
Double
purchase it
Fine
day
fans.
one.
Little Big Planet 3 looks
Yay!
fun. It looks
It
like more
looks
Little Big
fun,
Planet.
and there's new characters.
Yeah, so it's a bird,
Man.
a little kind of goo guy that shrinks, and was it a dog? I forget what the third character was.
Yeah,
He-
Odd Sock
he's
is kind of
Odd
like
Sock.
a
He's a
sock
sock
on all
puppet.
fours. Yeah.
I love it.
It's adorable. The only request I have for that game is fix your shitty fucking physics.
Right, and I don't know. Hopefully this one will be a lot less floaty because that was one
Yeah.
of my huge problems. It's
I
a
like
subpar
the
platformer
you
with
guys are weird.
no, the
Everything about that game is wonderful,
except for
but its feel.
except for the platforming engine. Really,
It- Yeah, but it doesn't feel fun to play, and you play because of the worlds and how creative it is, and the music was amazing, and everything about that. You love everything about that game, but it just wasn't fun to play.
no, I agree.
Um, so yeah, and I'm sure they know that, and it's not Media Molecule anymore either. I forget who's making it. So hopefully they're taking that into consideration. But
But
Little Big Planet just looks like more of the same great thing.
right, and if they do fix the floatiness of the game, tighten the screws on the platforming, all the old levels are going to be playable on this new game. So I think that's
You mean just
cool.
like the ability to remake all the old levels, or did they say they are actually?
all the old
all the old
levels from the interwebs, the
Yeah.
ones that were made, they are getting up-resed and put into the game.
Man, then please fix the platforming because I want to.
So
play
that
the shit out
means
of
that
this game.
all my costumes I've bought will go back in! Yay! I don't have to buy a shitload of things.
You didn't have to in the first place, but that's another story.
Infamous is coming out with some standalone DLC. It's about Fetch, which was the neon laser girl from the game.
I'm interested, but I probably won't buy it at all.
Yeah, either will I. Look, I've talked about this on the podcast before. I'm a huge fan of that game. The original, I think it's at this moment, I think the best game out for the PS4. But I'm going through kind of playing cleanup on all the side missions, and then I'm going to be done with that game. So,
Well, how do you feel about standalone DLC in general? I think that
I prefer standalone DLC. I think the first one that I got excited for was Blood Dragon. But I like that trend because I didn't have Far Cry 3 at the time. It was still like $50. I wasn't really sure I wanted to play it, but I got to play Blood Dragon for like $10 or $15 and had a great time with it.
right, and it'll make you want to buy the actual game. Like
Yeah, and I did eventually get Far Cry 3. I didn't
Right.
spend $50 on it, but I think it is the best. No one loses with that. It's,
Right.
if somebody wants to play the DLC, they'll play the DLC. If, they don't have the original game, then you're missing out on that whole huge market. So it's silly not to do it in this day and age when everything is kind of digital packaging. I'm sure it's, memory wise, it probably is a larger file, but who the fuck cares? We have 500 gigabyte hard drives in our consoles now.
Right.
Far Cry 4 looks amazing.
Looks like fun, and guess what? I buy the game. You don't have it. You can play it with me.
Yeah, so I don't understand how that's going to work but apparently
it worked great.
your player 2 doesn't have to own Far Cry 4 to play with you. So I don't know if it's just kind of in a limited capacity. They just download chunks of the world temporarily or however they're doing it mechanically. I think that's a cool concept and will probably sell a lot of people who, play co-op and are like, no, I kind of want to play this on my own. But the brief gameplay they showed, attacking a little village, there was a squirrel suit, like a glider suit, and it just looks gorgeous. It looks like just a refinement of Far Cry 3, which was a fantastic game. So yeah, that's another
where's the
one.
game set?
The Himalayas.
Yeah.
Which is a cool setting. It's just a lot of mountains and ravines and elephants,
Right.
so it looks really pretty too. A lot of like prayer flags and all that stuff hanging from everything. A lot of ancient temples. It's like, what was that? Uncharted 2 kind of took place in that area. So yeah, that's probably a good one. And then kind of my game of the show. So far for E3, even though not a ton of new stuff has come out about it, is No Man's Sky, which it's not a huge budget game. It's 4 dudes making
delightfulness.
I don't even know what this is.
It looks like the perfect space exploration game. So the world is procedurally generated, so everyone starts out on their own planet. A la Minecraft style. It is populated with animals and, weather and ground type and sky, and everything is all designed by an algorithm. You can get in a spaceship, fly to another planet, and land all seamlessly. There is space combat. It is everything you dreamed of when you were playing, TIE Fighter and all of those, flight sim kind of games. Like, man, if I could land on that planet, that would be so cool. And this you actually do. It's resource management. It's not super combat heavy. Like, I think there's a little bit of weapons. You can do some dog fighting here and there. But the way they're talking about this game, it just seems like space Minecraft. Maybe you're not building a ton of stuff. It's more survival. But it just looks amazing. And it's one of those games that you see and then you hear them talk about it and you just don't believe them. It doesn't seem possible to do what they're trying to do. And the way kind of they're populating this world and procedurally generating, this one has like fucking dinosaurs and this one has giant birds and this one has an ancient robot civilization, and you feel like you would just go to 100 planets and they're all going to have the same weird alien dinosaurs on them, but they claim that's not the case, and god damn it, if that is true, I might not ever need to play another video game as long as I live. So, if you like space combat, if you like kind of survival exploration games, check out No Man's Sky, because I don't know.
All right.
There hasn't been a ton of info on it. They keep showing stuff, they keep talking about it, but it just doesn't seem possible. So, we'll see. That's all I have for Sony, unless there was anything I missed.
Well, I mean, there's a few that are for multiple platforms that I could talk about quick.
Yeah.
The 2 trailers that I think hit the hardest and looked the absolute best were Assassin's Creed Unity.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean,
that looks
interesting.
Next gen.
That is a
next
4-player co-op game that I really want to find 3 other people to
I
play.
completely fucking agree.
Yeah.
That was
and
the
I'm not
first
even
time.
huge. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, as much of these, online co-op games they were showing, like The Division and all that other shit, that was the first one where I'm like, okay, we all need to play this game. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. I do believe it's the second best trailer I've seen, but a very close second. And it does just look tasty. I mean,
I hope it doesn't just show well, but man, that little tasting of that game was I don't usually get excited about Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
No, either do I. I don't necessarily even like them. But when they were like actually showing the gameplay during the conference, I got a semi. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, this is something that
Going
needs to be
into
in my life.
buildings, man.
Yeah, going into buildings.
You're
Yeah.
gonna buy an Xbox, aren't you? Fuck!
What?
I want to play it on the PS4.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm sure I'll eventually get both of them. All right. So yeah, Assassin's Creed Unity. Of course, everyone is eating that for
Yeah,
lunch.
that's hopefully gonna be great.
And the best trailer that I saw, Dead Island 2. Sorry, Dead Island takes it again. The original trailer was amazing. This trailer,
This show
that
any of
trailer
the
was
game
fun.
though.
no, it doesn't show you any of the game. I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't show you any of the game, but that
Also,
trailer
Was that Jack
fun.
Black in the van?
yeah.
Was that okay?
I don't know for sure. It sounds just
It
like
sounded
him,
like
though.
Jack. I'm like,
Yeah.
is that Jack Black?
Yeah. Yeah, that trailer was one of the best trailers
It was
I've
a
ever
great
seen for a
trailer.
game.
Whoever
It
does
was
their
fun.
fucking promo work, it does a great job.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, the first one, that game sold on that trailer. They never showed another trailer for the game.
And the game wasn't that great. We played a lot of it. Wasn't that great?
The game, you know what? I will say this about Dead Island, the original. It was amazing, but the physics were horrible.
It
Like,
was fun to play with 4 people because that game was super janky and you could dick around.
right. But if I honestly, if the controls would have been somewhat decent and not that you fall off of stairs constantly, I think one time we all had to go up 2 flights of stairs when it was the 4 of us playing, and it took us like 10 minutes.
We were in that building in the hotel, right?
Right? Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
kept
it was awful.
falling off the damn stairs because the controls are so awful. But yeah, I really do hope that they fix that. If they come out with a decent game, I mean, obviously their marketing team is in line. They just got to get the game
The
makers.
developers.
Right. So yeah, I'm
no,
a little excited to see more about it.
I did hear a rumor that the analog melee is not going to be in this. I don't know how anyone knows that, but that is kind of the fear. Because in the original Dead Island, you could like chop off limbs intentionally and kind of fuck with people when you got good at that game.
Right, right.
So I really hope they don't cut that out because that was probably the most appealing part of the combat in that game.
Yeah, the combat wasn't even the combat, that part was good. It was just the basic movement, your
Just
character
janky.
movement that was just janky, I guess.
Yankee.
And Sonic Boom, you guys excited about this?
No, fuck Sonic Boom.
I'm not excited about it at all.
Fuck that game.
I really am
we
not.
shouldn't even talk about it because if people keep talking about Sonic games, they're going to keep fucking making Sonic games. And we just need to put a bullet in that fucking hedgehog's head. I love Sonic.
Why don't you like Sonic?
I grew up on Sonic. In my opinion, Sonic Generations was the fucking memorial service for the Sonic franchise. Like, we can all just think back on the better days of Sonic and enjoy some classic Sonic gameplay. We're fucking done. Stop making those goddamn games. They're fucking terrible. Just stop.
Yeah, but yeah.
No, don't.
it
We
does-
can't acknowledge it. Just everyone just needs to turn their back and never say a fucking word again.
Yeah, it
And they're
doesn't
going to
look
stop
good.
releasing them.
It doesn't.
People keep buying them. Fucking someone's buying them for their 12-year-old nephew, and their 12-year-old nephew thinks Sonic games are pieces of shit, and that's not fair. Because Sonic games are amazing. They just can only play shitty Sonic games.
Right. Speaking of pieces of shit, Final Fantasy Type O.
I didn't see that.
Hey, don't you do these?
You didn't see that?
I didn't
Ryan,
see anything about any. I assume there was no Final Fantasy at E3 this year.
Blandy, have
Well,
you seen that?
yeah, there was. Listen, it was out for the frickin' PSP in in frickin' Japan. All right,
Okay.
they
Is
never released it here.
The
I'm glad
game
to see it.
the game looks like it has revolutionary graphics for
Uh-huh.
1994.
Uh-huh.
Like, it really looks dated, and I don't understand
Oh, baby.
That's another game series where they need to stop making them because people are going to get a bad impression. And the Final Fantasy games are amazing, and it makes me sad when they're like, Final Fantasy sucks. It's like, no, it doesn't. Just every game released in the past 5 years has.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's
I
not
haven't played
fair.
them.
Final Fantasy Tactics is like one of the greatest games ever made.
That
and
game I did play a good deal of, and I
God
do
damn it.
really like it. Okay.
Nintendo? Or
Yeah.
you still got
Let's
other
go
stuff?
to Nintendo, the winners of E3.
Well,
Okay.
hold on. There's a couple of things I want to talk about yet.
Oh, okay.
Bloodline.
What's? Oh, wait. Is that?
It's the dead or sorry,
The
the
new-
Dark Souls guys.
Yes.
Just
Bloodborne, you mean?
is it Bloodborne?
Bloodborne.
All right,
Yeah.
sorry.
Bloodborne.
I don't have a list in front of me.
Um,
Incredibly gruesome.
that dog was terrifying. That dog made me really uncomfortable in that trailer.
Yeah.
It was like half fleshy dog. I didn't like it.
It was
There's
like-
I
been a
thought it was a Resident Evil game.
right. I was about to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't show any gameplay, but there's gameplay online. There was like a bunch of clips that were leaked. They're like animated GIFs, but they're really, decent quality.
Yeah. 4chan leaked them, right? Yeah.
I don't, or NeoGAF or someone. The internet leaked it.
Under
The
Project
internet.
Beast, I think, is what you would
Yeah,
have to
Project
search
Beast
for.
up
But-
until now is what it's been called.
Right.
I don't know. I like the Dark Souls games, so I'm probably gonna play that one.
I haven't played the Dark Souls games. This looks more interesting to me than the Dark Souls games. But overall, what is with E3 this year and just being disgustingly gruesome?
Yeah, it's been a bit gory.
Like
I
every
don't
single
It's like
remember
I'm
game.
watching
this
Game
book.
of Thrones.
Well, no. I mean, yeah, Game of Thrones, where it's winter. Winter has come.
I mean, is it just the games have higher fidelity now? Is it? I don't know.
Well, the games do have higher fidelity, and they definitely are able to show things that they would have shown in the original Resident Evil, or they would have shown in Silent Hill if they could have.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you go over the top gore, you lose out on a lot of the, I don't know, the scary. Gore's not extremely scary to me. It's just not.
Well, no, you can become desensitized to gore, but like psychological scares and stuff like that.
Right.
Well,
you
that's
can't get rid
the
of.
meat and potatoes. That's
Which
what you
leads
want.
me into the next game I want to talk about.
Evil Within.
No.
Oh,
I mean, that does look good too. I quickly want to talk about Alien, the new Alien game.
Okay, so I have not seen anything on it.
Okay.
I have to.
Right.
Everything I've heard sounds like all the things I want to hear about an Alien game. So you give me your pitch.
Okay. It's Clock Tower meets Alien meets amazingness. It's Ridley Scott. It's not off of. It's more in the vein of Alien and Prometheus than it is Aliens and Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection and all those things. So if you're this sci-fi horror fan like you are, hopefully,
Yeah.
you'll hopefully enjoy all of them equally. But in video game form, we've just been getting all these Alien games that are just like killing
You're mowing down
15,000
waves.
aliens
Yeah.
like it's nobody's business. And this, you're fucking running. It is realistic. You're a human being, and this thing bleeds acid, and you don't want to fuck with it. Like,
you don't want to fuck with it.
yeah. So-
I hear that there's one alien, and that was the most exciting thing I heard about that game. You're like, there's one, and you're fucked if it sees you. It's like, no, that's what I wanted to hear. That is the alien game I want to play.
That's the
Exactly. Yeah, it looks. They're taking the franchise in the right direction. It's not versus Predator. It's not versus 9,000 Marines. It's not even a versus. It's a fucking alien, and you're on a ship, and that's
Yeah.
it. That's all there is to it.
I
You're
have
gonna
to
get
watch
eaten.
that trailer because I heard a little bit on it, and I'm like, this. You were saying all the right things. Like,
So-
I hear it's a little janky right now, but that whatever.
Yeah, I mean whatever. That's fine. That game you were talking about was No Man's Sky, right?
Yes,
Okay.
No Man's Sky is. But after I completely forgot about that alien game because I only heard about it today. That might beat it. Because that's what I've always wanted to play. Like that is, I'm on a space station. There's an alien.
Right. Yeah.
fucking deal with it.
Yeah. Live.
Good luck.
Your goal is not to die. That's it. That's all you got to do. Couple Tom Clancy games. I
Fuck the Division.
Right, but Rainbow Six Siege too.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Which I mean, it's supposed to be in the vein of old school Rainbow Six. It's supposed to be
Okay.
It's supposed to be multiplayer. Supposed to be in buildings, like tactical takedowns of targets.
Can I spend twice as much time putting waypoints on a map for different teams than I do actually executing the mission?
I I don't know. Is that what you used to do in old school Rainbow
Yes.
Six? Alright.
I spent
not
more
sure.
time like dragging and dropping little boxes to be like, okay, now you wait at the door and then you breach and then
Right.
like
Right.
those are games you shouldn't have to play. Like you should be able to set everything up, hit a button, and then just like switch between the characters.
Right. Well, yeah, when you're playing single player, but multiplayer, I mean, that's what I don't know. Rainbow Six was as revolutionary as Halo was, and I don't think people forget about it because there just weren't as many PC gamers back then. But
I played a little bit of Rogue Spear Online. I played
Right.
a lot of what
Well,
was the
and Rogue
Falcon's
Spear, too.
Crest or what was it?
right, I don't know. I don't remember.
Raven's Anus something. That was a lot of fun
I
though.
love
playing-
Raven's anus.
Playing co-op Raven Shield.
That's it, Raven. Shield.
Playing co-op Raven Shield was actually a lot of fun.
Right. So I mean that's decent sized news to me. It's not huge. The Division is, I mean, it's whatever. It's,
Yeah,
you know.
that game looks boring to me.
And The Witness. Have you guys seen anything on this?
I haven't seen the new stuff. I've followed it when it was kind of first announced. It's a guy who did Braid. It's,
Right.
Jonathan Blow.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle game, so I'm going to pay attention to it, and I'll probably play it if it's decent.
The art styling looks good, but the art
Looks
styling
really
for
pretty.
Braid looked good. So
But you're walking around this island, and then you just walk up to screens and then solve a puzzle, and then continue to walk around the island. Sounds an awful lot like Myst to me. So I don't know where the fun comes in, but
yeah, but there are people that suck the dick of Mist. I mean,
I really enjoy Myst. I just don't know why you would make the same type of game where it's like, walk around, explore this island, now look at this thing for 4 minutes. Okay, now you can go and explore the island again. Like, I don't feel the need to play another one of those. I played Myst, Ribbon.
right, but knowing what I know about the douchebag who's designing the game,
Jonathan Blow.
yeah, he's
good
not
at
gonna
making
make
games.
he's not gonna remake Mist. You know?
No.
gonna-
I haven't heard anything about that game to make me excited. So I'm sure it'll be,
Well,
great.
okay. Here's something that might make you excited. The Rift is going to be able to play it. So, I mean, that should be
all right. That makes me kind of excited.
that
All
should
right,
be pretty huge.
I'm interested.
I mean, so Jonathan Blow says, you know,
he
says
a
that.
lot of things.
Right.
He's the indie Lion's Head Studio guy. God damn it! Peter Molyneux. He is
Yeah.
the indie Peter Molyneux who just blows smoke up his own ass and
Right.
fucking loves to stroke his own dick in front of everybody to talk about how awesome their games are. And they usually make awesome games, but nowhere near as much awesome as they promise. But
As
you're like,
they
well,
are.
your game's still cool, so
Right.
kind of fuck you, I guess.
It's definitely a lot better. I would like to play the game that goes on in their head. It would be a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, yeah, you promised me the world, and this game is great, but if you would have kept your mouth shut, like, we would have just been like, this is an amazing game. Like, you didn't need to build it up.
And honestly, this is my last one, I swear, before we talk about
Alright,
Nintendo.
alright.
But Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Anybody? No?
I saw nothing. I missed a ton of shit so far.
Yeah.
But no, I have no idea. Is there any
Yeah,
reason to
actually-
care about a Dragon Ball Z game?
Well, because I really like Dragon Ball Z. I
I mean,
like
I
it a
really
lot.
like Dragon Ball Z too, but I can only play so much Tenkaichi Project 9000.
No, I believe that this
Oh
is,
man, is it an RPG like the Super Nintendo one that got translated?
Did you play that? Because I actually did recently play that. I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast.
I did when I was younger.
Oh, okay. All right.
When I was like actually watching Dragon Ball Z and found out what emulators were, and I'm like, ah, This is amazing.
Right. Yeah.
I don't remember it being particularly good, but it was an RPG, which I liked, and it was Dragon Ball, which I loved. So,
Right. So apparently this is not going to be an RPG. It's going to be another fighting game. They say that they're going back to. I. Yeah, I don't know. I brought it up just because I like Dragon
make
Ball
me a
Z.
Dragon Ball adventure game. I'll play a Dragon Ball adventure game.
Right.
Like,
It,
I don't want to do fucking one-on-one combat anymore. Look, Tenkaichi's a great fighting game. I just don't want to do it anymore.
and the Budokais were good. Like, yeah. I mean, they
Yeah.
definitely. They
They're
they
not bad.
hit their
There's just too many.
right. Right. So if they do it, well, it would be good to have. Anyway, enough about Dragon Ball Z. On to Nintendo, who did apparently win. I mean, they
won.
I would say I wanted everything for the first half of that show. I'm like, yep, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get
Yep.
that.
right.
So
Where to start?
Where to
let's start.
Let's
All right,
All right.
start
just
at
very
the
briefly.
Stupid thing. The freaking the
Well,
Skylanders dumbness.
Okay, so
it's
that's
not
what I was saying.
dumb. It is freaking awesome.
So that kind of goes
What
into the
they
first thing
should
I
have
wanted
done
to
in
talk
the
about is Smash.
Okay.
So introduce 2 new characters,
Well,
Pac-Man
a couple
and
characters, buddy.
the what?
A multitude of characters.
Does anybody have a list of the characters?
I got it right. I got it. All right.
right,
So,
right.
Run 'em down.
the broad from Kid Icarus.
Right.
All right. You got Game and Watch.
Yeah, that's cool that
Oh,
they're
I
bringing
didn't hear
that
about
back.
Game & Watch.
Yeah, Game and Watch coming back. Then the Me people.
We all expected that, though, didn't we? That was.
I don't know if I expect.
I thought that was understood, seeing that every Nintendo game released recently gives you an option. To
I
play
can
Smash.
choose Zoidberg.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. And then, of course, the biggest reveal was, who didn't see this one coming? Pac-Man.
I don't understand why everyone's getting excited for Pac-Man. That being said, the Pac-Man level looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, but the big thing here is that you got Mario, you got Sonic, you got Mega Man, now you got Pac-Man.
Yeah, I guess.
All the old schools, babies.
I guess.
And the Wii Fitness girl.
Hey, she can be a man.
Okay,
I'm just tired of hearing about Smash. Like, I'm gonna buy it. Just stop. Everyone's gonna buy that goddamn game.
Right.
You don't need to sell it to me anymore.
But the biggest thing is the Skylanders, baby.
Yeah, so they're coming out with
man.
near
Oh,
field
what a
communication.
lovely thing they've got.
What
I'll list off all the characters that they've got planned for Series 1 right off the bat. You got Mario, you got Kirby, you got Pikachu, you got the Animal Crossing villager, Yoshi, Star Fox, Peach, Samus, Pit, Link, Donkey Kong, Wii Fit Trainer, Marth, and Zelda.
The Wii Fit Trainer action figure is actually kind of fucking hilarious, but
Yeah.
It's funny.
I
man.
mean, look,
I'm gonna buy-
I understand this whole toys to life craze, all this stuff. Like, that's fine, and I'll probably buy 1 or 2 of them. But
They've got to make it a good ass game. Like if it's just me playing with toys on a platformer, I don't think that's
yeah,
gonna
but
get me
if I'm
involved.
8 years old and I want to bring my Mario character that I leveled up to play my friend next door, like that's a great
well, that's
invention.
not how they work, buddy.
What?
No, basically,
They're AIs.
they are AIs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but
You won't be playing as them.
Wait,
you
what?
know what I mean? Like it's something to bring to your friend's house to
Like
show
an
off
assist
what
trophy.
you've done. Yeah,
So
but
who do you
it's-
play as? You play as
your character.
You play as your character, and then this fucker shows up to play.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a handicap. It's a
It's fine.
handicap. It'll be good when we're playing with girlfriends, and then having a nice thing to play by itself. But the biggest thing about these figurines is that they're going to be used on multiple games.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. You buy Mario, it's going to be used for Mario Kart. It's going to be used for Mario Party. It's going to be used for Smash. It's going to be used for a multitude of games, not just you're buying this figurine for Smash.
It's
They're
used for a
doing,
multitude of games, and how many games are they really going to develop that incorporates this stuff?
I hope a lot, because I think it's genius to put that under multitude of games. Not to mention, they kept hinting we've got a partnership with Disney Infinity. We've got something for Skylanders coming.
Well, so
So there might be those figurines can be used for third-party games as well,
yes, and I'm not saying
and that's
it's a bad idea.
exciting.
It's just not. I don't know. I just don't see the appeal for a 20-something-year-old. Like I understand if you like I said, I'm probably going to get one or two just to play with them, but I just don't. I'm not going to collect the whole set. Like, what am I going to do with all that shit? I have enough shit.
I'm
Like,
gonna put it on my shelf.
yeah, I guess. So yeah, that's the Amiibos and Smash Brothers. That stuff's everywhere. There's a new Yoshi's Yarn. It looks fucking adorable.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
And if you can watch that trailer without smiling, then you have no goddamn soul. New Pokemon. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care.
Well,
Don't
it's
care.
already been announced. Like that was nothing new.
Yeah. Bayonetta 2 looks great.
Yeah, and it
Uh,
comes with Bayonetta 1, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
good.
probably the cool because I never played Bayonetta
Like
1.
I was on the fence, like, yeah, maybe I'll try it, but then I was like, Bayonetta 1 comes with it. Well, all right then. There
Yeah.
we go. Because I did always want to play Bayonetta 1. I hear it's fantastic, and it's by the guy that originally did Devil May Cry
Yep.
1.
And it looks like the exact same type of game. Run around, throw shit in the air, shoot it a lot of times, move on. New Hyrule Warrior looks like Dynasty Warriors. Which
yeah, it's
definitely
Dynasty Warriors,
are
but
video
Zelda
games.
and
Yeah.
Midna, man. Playing as
Yeah, they added a bunch of other characters. Zelda's going to be in it. Sheik's gonna be
Hey,
in it.
I can't wait for the big reveal when they finally say, "All right, guys, here's your best character ever, Tingle." And then
Yeah,
play as
I
Tingle.
feel like Tingle's just going to be floating in a balloon and it's going to be like a fucking pickup or something.
I would like to play as Tingle.
You're not going to play as Tingle.
I would like to play as Tingle.
Hey,
Make it
with
happen.
Nintendo's making more and more DLC, so you might get your wish.
Tingle, baby.
More info on the Xenogears game. Looks cool.
Yeah, it was just a story trailer.
Yeah.
Nothing huge.
The new Mario Maker looks pretty interesting. So
Yeah, it looks like fun.
it's basically kind of a make your own old school Mario levels. Also, you can kind of change the tile sets to make it look like new school Mario. Not a ton of information on it. It was just kind of a, hey, this is what it is. I think as people start playing it, we'll get a better picture of, how sophisticated this thing is. I feel like the ultimate test of something like that is, can I make all of Super Mario 1 and it plays like Super Mario 1, so on and so forth. If you can do that, if you can recreate the original Mario games in that thing, then I'm sold. Like that means it's sophisticated enough where people are going to start making amazing stuff. And we also don't know kind of what social interaction you have. Like, is it going to be like Little Big Planet? Or are they going to curate kind of the best of the best and, download map packs and things like that? So,
I mean, ideally it would be, right? That's
yeah, but Nintendo doesn't have a great track record with that shit. Like, they're getting a lot better, but it's, you always in the back of your head to be like, that's great. If you actually make this, playable online and easy to find the good parts of the online play,
right.
It would be amazing, but I don't have faith enough in Nintendo to do so. So until that day it comes out and they say, yeah, the online stuff works great, I'm going to go and buy it because that sounds fucking awesome.
Right.
Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. So if you played Super Mario 3D World, the little
You've played it a little bit.
You've played all those little side missions where they're kind of like a puzzly Toad game. It looks fucking awesome. I'm probably going to get that because those games are super fun. And yeah, they're just kind of these little three-dimensional puzzles where you navigate Toad around the world collecting stuff. Splatoon was probably the most unique game, not a first-party
Yes,
Nintendo
and
game.
I was worried, like it said Nickelodeon. I was like, ugh. But then I was watching it, and I was like, look at this.
So
Look how original this fucking thing
it's
is.
original, and it is exactly what I would expect a shooter to be on a Nintendo console. So the
Yeah.
premise is it's kind of this arena combat, and you get, for lack of a better word, water or paint guns that shoot your team's color. So the whole point is to cover as much of the map as you can in your color. So if you're the orange team, you're covering everything you can. The blue team is covering over your orange stuff, normal kind of trying to get territory. But you can warp into this squid thing and fast travel in your color like you're almost like swimming around in it. It just looks really fast and really interesting. And it looks like an arena shooter for a Nintendo console, and that's great. Like, it's not violent, it's really creative, it's really refreshing. Like, the graphics look nice, like nothing amazing, but it's, I don't know. It looks like something I want to play on my Nintendo with my friends. So I'm hoping that turns out well.
Agreed.
What else? What else? What else? What else? There's
What about the
obviously
bombshell?
yeah. So I'm trying to cover all the little stuff before we talk about.
Before the bombshell, I got you. Okay.
Um. So there's a couple other new IPs. I didn't actually see any of the trailers, but Miyamoto's been working on some projects. Um,
Yeah, they look.
one is
Yeah.
I think the big news to come out of that is they're making another fucking Star Fox. So
Yes. Yes.
fucking get hyped because it's Star Fox, and
But even Miyamoto said it's early in its development.
yeah, which is
So
fine.
don't
Take your
don't
goddamn time.
expect it next year, people, because it
That's
won't.
fine. If I have to wait for 2016 for a Miyamoto fucking Star Fox game, so be it. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. And then yeah, I guess if there's nothing else in Nintendo, it's just kind of the big news of the reveal of the new Zelda game.
New Zelda game, and it's open freaking
It's open free
world.
world. They didn't have a ton to show on it. No real gameplay. It was like a lot of kind of cinematic camera angles and stuff like
And you
that.
might play a girl, or Zelda just really looks girlish.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just
Hey man, I would love
Link looks
that in
feminine.
The Legend of Zelda, you're fucking Zelda and you gotta save Link.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, that would be nice for a
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, let Zelda be
Um,
a little badass.
but yeah, it's the art style looks like a much more refined, cleaned up version of kind of the Skyward Sword's painterly. Like it
I
still
agree.
has that vibrant color, but it's a lot crisper. It doesn't have kind of the blotchy things that they were kind of using to hide distance. Like I understand it was used as a trick to kind of make the world look better than they could actually render it on the Wii. But this just looks like a proper evolution of that art style. It looks great. Obviously they don't have a ton to show on it yet, but they were saying the right things. They were saying open world. They were saying, like the original games, you don't necessarily have to do everything in the order that,
And I
it's
think,
presented at
they
you.
they definitely learned from A Link Between Worlds, and they'll probably just have like, hey, these towns, they got, you can
Stuff to
buy
do.
things there. You won't find it in the temples.
Yeah, so I think, we still got to wait to see kind of how they're going to do dungeons and how they're, is Link going to have like a quest log like Skyrim, which I'm kind of okay with? Are they going to do it, certain
They're writing
areas?
checks, baby. Let's hope
What?
that bank account has enough.
Good analogy.
It was both.
Um,
Yeah, it's all about the execution. And one thing that I I dislike that Nintendo often does is they water things down. And as long as they keep it, they keep the story tight and they keep it moving and not something that's just spoon fed, I guess, I'll be good with it.
I feel like Link Between Worlds kind of revitalized everyone's faith in Nintendo of, okay, you still know how to make a great Zelda game. I think
Mhm.
Link Between Worlds was probably the greatest Zelda game they have released in a very long time. Not to say that I'm a huge fan. I'm actually replaying right now the Twilight Princess. I enjoyed Skyward Sword. It wasn't my favorite, but they weren't mind-meltingly amazing like Ocarina of Time was.
Mhm.
Like they just didn't feel quite right. They felt very linear and very, I don't know. They just didn't distinguish themselves in the long line of Zelda games. But Link Between Worlds did all the right things. Not to say that there weren't, some annoying parts about that game, or parts of it you could get a little kind of confusing or frustrating, but it shows that they still kind of know what they're doing. And that was an open world game, and yeah, I have reason to believe that they're going to do this well. And this is another game you can come out and tell me, it'll be done in 2017, and I'm not going to blink an eye because you can't rush stuff like this. If we are going to have this expectation of this company to keep making these games, just go for it. Just give us little, updates every once in a while to be like, yeah, we're still working on it.
Right.
But yeah, I think that was pretty much it for Nintendo, and more or less all I can think of for E3. Like I said, I haven't been able to keep up with everything, but it's a lot of fucking information in 3 goddamn days.
It really
Oh,
is.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
even with, there was still some like little things like, hey, we're working on Mass Effect. Well, here's where we work on Mass Effect. Here's
Yeah, it's a lot
Krogan.
of that.
That's what Krogan looks like.
I, it's a
right.
lot of PowerPoint presentations and
Agreed.
logos too.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of like, hey, we're totally working on this game. We don't have anything to fucking show you, but
Well, here's also an interesting thing with Sony. Uh, well, first there was, the Vita TV coming to the States
yeah,
finally. I'll be
mhm,
buying that shit.
that's pretty.
Uh, and then there was also like their little like, hey, by the way, that headset we've got rustling around, that VR headset? Well, we got it on the floor, guys.
Yeah,
So
but they had that
have
at
fun with that.
there
And I
was
was
just
like,
a
how about more of that? I'd
yeah,
like
but
to
that
know.
stuff's that's still in development. Like that's up there with Oculus, where it's like we're still working on this shit. Like there's not a ton to show you that we haven't already talked about.
Right.
I don't know. It's there's still what a day to go or so. So we'll see.
Yeah. It definitely is interesting. It seems like they are really trying to pimp out this E3. Um,
I mean, they gotta sell consoles, man.
right.
Like
Yep.
Sony is kicking Xbox's ass, but they're still not doing as well as I think they want to be doing.
Right. Right. Well,
Um,
and they have just I don't know
and nothing's coming
celebrities
out this
all
year.
over the place.
Everything is like, yeah, it's coming out next year, so don't fucking rush to buy anything because
Right.
don't fucking play anything on it. Like, we'll throw you 1 or 2 indie games so you shut the fuck up before Christmas, but hold on
Right.
to your cash, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
We're gonna
that
drop the
that's
prices eventually.
yeah, that's the
Before,
biggest disappointment. Is like, yeah, this game looks great. I'll play it in 2 goddamn years. Like,
right. Right.
I don't know.
But I don't know. They had
Maybe I'm just bitter because I shelled out for one of them, and now it's just sitting here. Like, I could play something maybe.
right. They had Danny Pudi and Donald Glover walking around. They had
Okay.
I don't know, just a lot of celebs
Oh,
trying to
oh.
raise hype.
Yeah, I guess
What?
that's what it is. It's like, oh, if
Yeah.
they have a PS4, I want a PS4. I don't know. Whatever. I don't buy the most important people that have video game consoles, in my opinion, are the ones that will actually fucking play them with me. Like, I'm not
Right.
going to play PS4 with Donald Glover, so fuck you.
There,
Like, why do I care what console he has?
there is one more that I did forget about until right now. Middle Earth: Shadows of Mordor. Uh,
So, apparently that started its life as a Batman game, which explains a lot.
oh, really? I didn't know that.
Because if you notice, the combat is awfully reminiscent of previous Batman
It
games. Yeah.
is, yeah, and very just like mowing through dozens of enemies. Like
It looks cool. It looks
Yeah.
like a neat game. It looks like a
really
lot of fun
cool.
to play.
Switching between the view styles, I don't know what that connotates, but yeah, it definitely looks awesome.
And like you can kind of turn factions against one another, and like
Yes.
it sounds like the most interesting Lord of the Rings game ever,
Yeah, and
arguably.
definitely
Yeah.
in recent
Well,
memory.
I think there was a brawler that was really good, but it escapes me at the moment.
Well, there were a few
For
the
like
original,
PS2.
the original brawlers that came out when the games came out or when the movies came out.
When the
were
movies.
Yeah, for like PS2, right?
yeah, they were pretty decent. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I liked them.
But I was never excited. It was like, oh, this is a fun Lord of the Rings game. Like this one, I'm like, okay, no, you know,
Yeah.
I'm down.
You got me a little bit. And we
Yeah.
talked about Eve on the podcast before, right? The new Eve,
The
the
MMO?
Valkyrie.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that most of that's because of the Oculus, right? The
Right.
whole.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's the flight sim that's like for the Oculus Rift. I don't even know. Are they coming out with a version for fucking civilians? Like, can you play it on your PC? What's the goddamn point for that?
I would assume so. Well, all right, we're devolving. In the end, E3 has been very exciting. We've seen a lot of old favorites, not a whole lot of new games though. It's been a lot of remakes or sequels, and
Yeah.
That's what the people want.
yeah, it is.
Well,
I don't
that's what the
think
people buy.
right. Did Nintendo come out? Did I see one new franchise from Nintendo?
Yeah, there's two.
Okay.
There's Rock'em Sock'em Robots and some tower defense game.
Okay. All right. Sounds exciting.
Moto.
You could argue that Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is an original idea. It was a mini game in a previous game, but this one looks pretty fleshed out. So I'll give them that one. The Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker is a freebie.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, not a lot of original games. It seems like the focus has been on multiplayer. Everything is just
Yes.
online co-op.
And a surprising number of games also kind of on the slide being like, hey, it's also coming out on the PC, guys. Like,
Right.
there's never been anything directly for the PC, but it was even a lot of Xbox stuff was like available on Xbox and PC.
Well, and every single one of the interviews that I was watching where they were showing gameplay footage and everything like that, they would ask like, is this on the Xbox version? And they'd be like, no, this is the PC version every single time.
Well, I think a lot of that too is, you know, most of the time everything's developed for the PC up until the last minute. You know, like you develop it on the PC and then you port everything over.
Sure.
So,
Well, and it looks better on the PC.
yeah, it does.
I think that has something to do with it. And just overly gruesome games.
Yeah,
We're going into a dark day in video
a
games.
lot
I
of
feel.
stabbing.
Right.
90% of that was in the Metal Gear trailer, but yeah, there was a lot of stabbing and delimbing and gory dogs that are going to give me nightmares.
Right. Not a lot of that. I mean, Little Big Planet was a big announcement because they had said that they weren't going to be announcing, and then they were there. So that was huge.
Yeah.
I loved it.
But
Feels
as
like
far
a
as-
warm hug.
Yeah, right. As far as
Feels like
lighthearted
a warm
and fun,
hug.
that was about it. It was Little Big Planet and some stuff from Nintendo, and then just death, and more death. From
Nintendo was
everybody
so
else.
refreshing. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, everything's shiny and adorable. Okay.
right. So yeah, I'm excited.
Good.
The one that took it for me, honestly, is gonna be Assassin's Creed. That's probably the game that. No, it's Fable. It's always gonna be
Check out
Fable.
No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is an impressive little game.
So Ryan, Blandy, what's the thing you're most excited about?
The The amiibo, guaranteed.
Really?
The one thing that's not a video game.
Yeah, I'm so fucking happy about that. They should have, like, when Skylanders first became a thing, they first went to Nintendo and went like, we want this only on your system with Nintendo characters. How about it? And Nintendo went like, we don't understand what this fucking thing is. So they went like, all right.
Nintendo's got a
And went
pretty
to Activision and
bad
made
track record
boatloads
too.
of money.
Yeah.
They should have had it. They realized their mistake, and now they're doing it, and it's going to be better. I love it.
All right. And Hayes, No Man's Sky and Assassin's Creed are your top two, huh?
No.
Oh.
The Assassin's Creed is. I'm excited for Assassin's Creed, but I'm not chomping on the bit for that. It's more of I would really like to play that game with some friends.
Right on.
I think if I could, pick two games, it would definitely be No Man's Sky and Far Cry 4.
Oh, right on.
Oh,
All right.
we had to pick two?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, then, I don't know. I really did like Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, that looks really
Looks
good.
pretty damn good.
Because, like, I already saw a little bit of gameplay before E3, and I went like, oh, that looks fantastic. I went and pre-ordered it because they've got a day one edition that has some DLC in it. And I went, it was nice to see the trailer and then go like, my hopes for this game are not abashed. I will not have to cancel my pre-order. Fantastic.
Right.
And what's your number two, Neil?
It's gonna be between Fable and Assassin's Creed. I don't know
All right.
which one Assassin's Creed is very rare for me because I'm not just into it. So Insomniac Games is the ones that are doing Sunset Overdrive.
Yes.
What else did they come out with?
Ratchet and Clank.
And
Yeah.
that's it.
That was their main thing.
They've been making Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, it's been a while.
All right. All right. Well, I think we've talked about everything that we can about E3 this year.
Nice
So
little
hopefully
podcast.
you're as excited as we are. Any final thoughts? Closing wisdoms, gentlemen?
Wait till 2015 to buy a fucking video game console. Don't be an idiot.
That is true. If you really want to be frugal, I would say Black Friday 2015.
Black Friday Bundaroo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
would be the way to go. All right. Well, I am 1/3 of this week's Pixelship crew. Neil
Mr. Joel.
Lebo, and we have Ryan Blandy.
I wish that they would have said Ness. Where's Ness?
And also Ryan Hayes.
Hopefully, I'm going to play some video games this week.
All right. Set sail on your own personal E3 voyage. You can go to multiple websites and see your own event coverage. All right, enjoy. Good night.